Get back to work. I tried to load 2 videos earlier today, but cooperation from the local disgusting populace and the military intel genocide operations just wasn't cooperating. So, they need to come to terms with themselves. And then you who are participating in their genocidal addiction need to come to terms with yourself. Okay. This is far worse than what happened to Hitler and the Nazis, okay? Because Anne Frank didn't have Facebook or YouTube, assholes. Okay? Do you understand? Okay. This is far worse than what happened during the Holocaust, because Anne Frank didn't have a YouTube or a Facebook. Okay? And besides, Anne Frank wasn't the Messiah. The stuff that Anne Frank wrote was a hopeful kid, hoping that life could be good, just hoping that one day we'd live the peace of Jesus Christ worldwide, the faith of Father Abraham. Okay. And then you guys make theater out of it to make more money, to mass murder more people, and say you're doing it more humanely than your predecessors. You're no better than your predecessors. Don't ever sit down for 2 minutes and tell yourself you're better than your predecessors. You're worse. Because Anne Frank and Jesus and Judah Krishnamurti and D.T. Suzuki didn't have a Facebook or a YouTube. Okay? They couldn't take Judah Krishnamurti and trend him worldwide. You, as a human being, why don't you change? You can't love your children or you'd end all wars. Okay? Yeah, no, you're worse than the Nazis. You're the worst mass murderers that tell yourself what you want to hear and then condition other people into being similar to you and then saying it's human nature. It's human nature to despise each other and despise what we need for life by taking uranium and trying to blow each other off the face of the planet with it. That's human nature. Wow, I'm a human and I'm nothing like you. Okay, so you can't sit there and make general blanket statements like that and then involve me in your psychosis and say, oh, he's got a problem. He thinks he's God. No. God, okay, I believe God is an omniscient, omnipotent, infinite essence of all existence. Okay. And I believe I am Earl from the book of Revelation, the son of Ralph and Mary, who's a molecular structure who has a consistent spirit that shares memories with Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John, Job, Jonah, Saladin, and Pascal and others. Okay. That people migrate and they have moms from Ruth's line and then they produce children, and these children, these boys, are similar and can explain their belief in God and their faith in God to other people. Okay. The reason why I have faith in God and why I believe in God, okay, is because there's no other possible source and or containment. And when you look at and you understand and you observe, you analyze, you process, and you learn to obey natural laws to sustain loving lives through holy covenants, through a life of sacrifice, you look at the beauty of the gift and you, wow, it's awe-inspiring. It's beyond mind-boggling. It's so cool. You know, if you understand what's needed for the planet to be, it's discussed in the Quran. It gets a little screwed up by the assholes that wrote it down and then tried to obliterate all the people like Muhammad off the face of the planet so they could use the word God as a instrument of psychosis and genocide. And that's been happening for tens of thousands of years. But the word God, the people that understand the true meaning of the word, is an omniscient, omnipotent, infinite essence of all existence. All right. Lord and God are two entirely different matters. The Lord is the eternal spirit of the man that has faith in God and gives us faith in God and maintains our faith in God because of his immaculate faith and his beautiful eternal love. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about me. Yeah. And you ought to, God dang. But I always sit there and I look at the chemical poisoning and reacting to the chemical poisoning and the abuse and the depression and the constant stress and the abuse and how my body just, it's constant weight, you know. And I connected to this kid yesterday on YouTube, and the administration is a puppet show for genocidal scientists. And the people that participate with the genocidal scientists are just as psychotic and addicted to what they're doing as a scientist. They're symbiotic. And the horrible part about it is most of the military units, you can see it in this current administration, are scrambling just to try to find ways to keep performing genocides so the technology won't. You know, the technology is basically, it's a population control genocidal operation that they're using with quantum computing. And you can see them desperately trying to get people to submit to their program so they can remain alive and not be killed by their own technology. And they have to invent the technology to keep themselves safe from their own military. Because their military, you know, it's like what always happens with a coup. You have a coup, and one guy is the brains of the outfit, and the brains of the outfit gets everything going, and they get it going, and they take over. And then the guy who does all the dirty work kills the brains of the outfit because he did all the work. But he don't have the brains to keep it going, and so another guy kills him because he's an asshole and he can't keep it together because he doesn't know how to, you know, keep the, you know, and it constantly goes like this. And it don't ever underestimate the vagina, and that, you know, if the man is the head of the house and the woman is the neck, right? Don't ever underestimate how evil and selfish and pathetic women can be. And then try to make us say, like, you know, this is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. This world this world had dinosaurs and birds and fish and all the things needed for our physical lives before we were ever physically on it. Okay. This is not a man's world. This is a world where we can live, given life by the glory of God. And don't you ever fucking forget that. Yeah, I said fuck. I say fuck a lot. Well, vulgar intercourse. We're not living the Lord's Prayer. Fuck. I wake up every day. We're not living the Lord's Prayer. Fuck. Your shit is fucked up. If you don't like hearing that, they had that dude from Moscow, man, that Doug Wilson, man, the other day. It was 250 years before we can use technology to share the perfection and live the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to, okay? Remember where we started with this video? Okay. About Anne Frank not having a Facebook or a YouTube? I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's try to load this one. The scientific community, I don't have a lot of hope for the scientific community at all. I do know once they're killed by each other with their own devices, that will still have their science projects to help. You know, all we have to do is just use the science projects to have everybody understand and apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer, and then we won't be in this clusterfuck of genocidal egomaniac insanity most likely ever again. Because what are you doing? We're not taking the Lord's Prayer away. What the hell's wrong with you? No, the Lord's Prayer is perfect. What are you fucking crazy? Yes, obviously. Okay. So, you know, we have crazy people, and any of the people that are not crazy obviously are being isolated and marginalized and abused, and they can't even think straight because they're bombarded with science projects. You like being fucked. It's fun to fuck. That's all you want to do is fuck. Eat shit and fuck. We're the best gods in the world. We're the scientific community. Okay? You're obnoxious. I know. Trust me. I'm on house arrest from the scientific community of the New World Order in Las Cruces, New Mexico, right where the book said I would be. The books are very helpful because, you know, when John wrote that down and it was taken by sociopaths, they weren't a part of the dialogue and they're not faithful. So they couldn't make heads or tails of the book of Revelation because it didn't seem real. There's no stars in the sky? Yeah, I'm cruising in central Phoenix and the moon is out, but there's no stars in the sky. Get the fuck out of here. No, seriously. Yeah. I'm sitting in a parking lot at a Burger King, and Bob is talking to Larry Nance about Camaros and muscle cars, and I'm looking at the skies, and the moon is out, and you cannot see a star in the sky. Get the fuck out. No, seriously. Light pollution everywhere. And I'm looking for a honey who has brain damage from carbon emission poisoning and radio waves and now Wi-Fi. So we're totally incoherent. We just want to have sex, enjoy our kids till we die a slow death of chemical poisoning, and then thank the scientific community for making us comfortably numb with drugs. Yeah, wow, sounds a lot like the Book of Revelation. I know.